Good morning. If you're new to this channel, hi, it's really nice to meet you. My name's Milena. And if you're a returning subscriber, well, how you doing there, hottie? What's up? Welcome back. If you need to write a motivation letter and you're thinking to yourself, well, I probably need motivation for this one, and you think that you have absolutely no motivation to do anything, then first of all, you should probably hit up your therapist. So before we continue on with this video, I want all of you to know that motivation doesn't look the same for everyone. Not everyone is motivated by the same things or for the same reasons or even the same goals. So the reason that you're motivated to do something might be completely unique. So why not express that in your motivation letter? And to be honest, if you truly think that you don't have any motivation, you're probably underestimating yourself. I mean, you've gotten to this point where you're thinking about even applying to something, and that shows motivation already. So here I am just trying to help you out, and let's see what we can do with your motivation and slap that on a piece of paper so that you can get in wherever the heck you're trying to get in. So a little disclaimer before continuing on with this video. I don't work in admissions, nor have I ever worked in admissions. So my tips and my opinions on how to write a motivation letter are fully based on my own experiences, but hey, I've gotten to university, so I guess they can't be too bad, am I right? But either way, if you are, for example, in high school, I always recommend that you reach out to your student counselor. So first, let's start with the definition. What is a motivation letter? A lot of people skip this part and go straight to writing it, and that's foolish, I tell you. So your motivation letter is a complement to your CV. It supports your CV. What your CV is facts and figures. Where did you study? For how long did you study? What grades did you get? They only want to know facts. And then in your motivation letter, you show them your personality. So at that point, you show them how everything you wrote about in your CV made you who you are, and that led you to want to apply to, again, wherever you want to apply to. In a way, you could say it's like an academic vibe check. I should really patent these things. These are good. Make it into a poster. In most cases, universities or other institutions to which you are applying to, they specify what questions they want you to answer. And so your motivation letter should be obviously tailored to answering the questions that they want to hear the answer to. For example, if you're a student applying for university and let's say you want to study economics, then in your motivation letter, they probably want to ask you about why you chose to do economics. And specifically, why did you choose that course? Out of all the economics courses, why was this course the one that really stood out for you? So those are the types of questions that you can expect when you're applying to university, but they are completely different for if you're applying for a job or if you're applying for a position that they're looking for. In that case, the questions that they ask for the specific situations will obviously be tailored to what they want to hear and what they want to know about you. Okay, so I thought the best way to do this is if I just split it up into steps of how to write a motivation letter. The first step is, as I mentioned, outline the questions they want you to answer. Those are your guidelines. Those are the things they want to hear. And if they're not included in your motivation letter, you might as well not apply, because that just means that you can't follow instructions. They asked you a question and you couldn't answer it? I'm just saying, if I were reading through someone's motivation letter and they for some reason avoided all the questions, I'd be a little suspicious. And potentially confused. Because if they don't have answers to the questions like, why do you want to study at this university? Then you're not really convinced that they want to study at your university. See your motivation letter as an academic Tinder. You know, like the questions they ask like, oh, I don't know, what do they ask on Tinder? Like, what's your favorite color? Imagine if Tinder asked you, what's your favorite color? And you answered with Florida. So what you want to do is you want to answer each question individually. Because if you were to answer them all simultaneously, I assure you your answers would overlap. And with these bullet points, you should be able to make your trail of thought as simple as possible. What these bullet points represent is what you want them to remember. When someone reads your essay or your motivation letter, they remember certain things about what you wrote. And it's specifically what you decide to make clear. And so, when you're making these outlines and you're making your bullet points, Decide what you want them to know. Do you want them to know that you are a hardworking person? Do you want them to know that you had a specific experience which now led you to want to apply? It's those little things that you have to make clear in your motivation letter, or else they literally have no way of knowing. By doing these bullet points, you avoid rambling as well. So what I used to do is I'd start answering the question straight away, and it was just like a flow of thoughts, you know? So it was just me writing what I thought was in here, right? But whatever is in here needs to be organized on your piece of paper. So by having these bullet points, you are able to clearly construct your arguments or your points so that they actually come across as reasonable. By avoiding all the rambling, you also show the institution that you're a critical thinker, that you can prioritize things, and that you don't just write out of impulse, but you think about what you're writing and you actually care about what your writing says about you. And so these bullet points become the heart of your essay. These are the things that you want to make clear to whoever you're applying to, and those are the things that they'll remember about you. After doing these bullet points, you need to figure out how to put them together. After all, this is a letter, so it has to flow like one. With regards to the format, you usually have the date and your personal information, and then you go into a salutation like dear sir or madam or anything of the sorts. And then you have your opening paragraph, which is like your introduction, and it really kicks off your essay. And then you have the body of your motivation letter, where all the good stuff are in. All the bullet points you made, those are in the body. And after that, you conclude. So your conclusion should wrap up everything you said in your essay. It obviously shouldn't repeat everything you just said, but it should pick out the overarching theme of your motivation letter. So what's one thing that kept popping up, you know? For example, if you want to make clear that all of your experiences have made you to the person that you are, all of these things that you mentioned, and then lastly, you have your complimentary close, which is your goodbye. You saying, okay, have a nice day, bye-bye, but obviously in an academically acceptable way. Usually you use things like sincerely or kind regards, and then you sign it with your full name, and some people like to add their signature. Your motivation letter should always be coherent, which means that you should use connectors like however or therefore in places where you feel like you want to link ideas. But don't shy away from starting a sentence with I. Back when I was writing my motivation letter for Erasmus, I avoided using I with everything I could. My essay became poetic, but it wasn't straight to the point and it wasn't clear. It didn't make it clear what I was trying to say. So don't shy away from simpler, more clear sentences, because at the end of the day, what you want to convey has to be understandable. And a bonus point is that by writing your essay, you're showing them you can write! Yay! They like to see when someone can write academically, you know, when they can actually put their ideas in a concise and simple and understandable way, and by writing your essay, that's what you're showing them. Then the final step is your conclusion, your closing statement. You've told them a bunch of things, and now you have to summarize what all those things mean. Do you intend on learning more, becoming knowledgeable, or becoming a better person, understanding yourself better, understanding others better? There are so many things you can learn in university. Pick one. Pick something you want to learn. An important thing to remember is that you have a limited amount of words, right? If you're writing a motivation letter, you usually have 1 to 2 pages to explain your motivation. Of course, the word limit is there so that the people who are reading all these motivation letters can actually get through all the motivation letters. But it does mean that you have to be extremely concise. Also, don't forget to keep a close eye on your language, because no one will believe that you are a detail-oriented person with vast experience in writing if you can't spell. So make sure that there are no spelling mistakes. Always ask for someone to read over your essay, because there are things that after looking at the same essay for hours and hours, you just don't pick up anymore. Subscribe if you found this video helpful, and also comment down below what you're writing a motivation letter for. I think that's so interesting that everyone's writing a motivation letter for different things, and I hope to hear from you, but till then, take care, stay safe, wash your hands, social distance, bye!